You see, this is a business, and we all get that. It's the basketball business, after all. We're aware of how it works, and I'm confident he'll thrive down in Dallas. The NBA world was completely shaken when Anthony Davis was unexpectedly traded without warning. It was like, wait, what just occurred? But here's the kicker. The trade itself might not even be the most shocking part. Whispers are swirling that LeBron James, who's long been viewed as AD's brother, may have played a major role in making it happen. These two were inseparable, winning championships, posting TikToks together. The whole dynamic was solid. But something feels off now. For months, AD has been pleading for additional support on the court, and instead of getting a backup big man, he found himself shipped out. Was this purely a business decision? Did LeBron subtly approve with a nod? The specifics are tangled, and the aftermath is even more chaotic. Stay tuned. This story goes beyond the game of basketball. It's a tale of allegiance, treachery, and the repercussions when personal bonds clash with professional organizations. Shocking revelations have emerged about LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Out of the blue, Anthony Davis is dealt in a trade that caught everyone off guard. Absolutely no one saw it coming. This wasn't just a major deal, it was a true game changer. It was a seismic shift that sent shockwaves through the league, overturning teams and rewriting futures overnight. Amidst the chaos, whispers began circulating that the once solid connection between LeBron and AD might have fractured under the pressure. This rumor was major, especially considering these two were thought to be inseparable allies. While the trade itself was already mind-blowing, the suggestion that their friendship may have suffered collateral damage added an entirely new layer of drama. And who's behind this juicy revelation? None other than Bill Ryder from CBS Sports, who unveiled some fascinating new details. So, was this about strategy, betrayal, or simply the nature of the game? Get comfortable, because this saga is far from resolved. Sure, the deal was monumental, but Bill Ryder from CBS Sports just exposed the messy backstory that led to it all. Ryder revealed that this decision wasn't just a hasty, off-the-cuff action. Back then, there were whispers within the Lakers camp suggesting that LeBron James was starting to feel some frustration with Anthony Davis. Let's take a moment to digest this. LeBron, frustrated with AD, the same pair that teamed up to clinch the 2020 championship, the duo that shared jokes and camaraderie in post-game interviews as though they were lifelong brothers. Incredible. But Ryder wasn't finished. He emphasized his point, saying, "I've covered this guy for years. We've all seen him play. Absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal talent. When he wants to be, at times, he can be a bit unreliable, even somewhat temperamental. All right, but here's where things heat up. Ryder unleashed a bombshell. You can't always tell if it's simply LeBron going through a rough patch with AD, a tough stretch with the teammate he personally chose as his partner on the court. However, Ryder's argument goes even deeper. LeBron's shifts in demeanor aren't just limited to whispers in the locker room. They have the power to reshape the entire franchise. When LeBron isn't content, the Lakers are forced to respond. And Ryder made that crystal clear. This deal doesn't go through without his full endorsement and consent. Now, let's piece it together. LeBron set his sights on AD joining him in LA back in 2019. They orchestrated that trade, labeled AD as the franchise's future, and cultivated a public bromance for the spotlight. But away from the cameras? Friction. Perhaps AD's constant injuries wore thin. Maybe LeBron's patience ran out when the Lakers missed the playoffs in 2022. Or it could be more straightforward than that. LeBron, entering his 21st season and still chasing championships, has no room for uncertainties. If AD can't perform consistently, LeBron's adjusting the board. Chilly? Absolutely. But that's just LeBron for you. Relentless when it comes to protecting his legacy. Now, you may be curious about how LeBron James addressed the speculation surrounding his alleged frustration with Anthony Davis. True to form, LeBron kept it simple. The Lakers superstar avoided lengthy statements or in-depth interviews about the trade rumors. Instead, he hopped on X and fired back at CBS Sports Bill Ryder with just a couple of emojis that spoke volumes. To his credit, Ryder didn't back down. He stood firm, reaffirming his sources and maintaining that the reported tension between LeBron and AD was no fabrication. "I stand by my statement," he responded, maintaining a tone that was both composed and assertive. And now, we find ourselves entrenched in that uncomfortable back and forth of conflicting accounts, leaving fans puzzled about who to trust. Is LeBron truly upset? Or is this simply another example of his skillful ability to steer the narrative? And what would motivate Ryder to take such a risk unless there was at least a shred of truth to his claim? Let's be honest. LeBron has always excelled at controlling his own story. Think about the decision or his heartfelt letter to Cleveland. The man truly knows how to command the spotlight. When he opts for emojis instead of words, it's not merely a reaction, it's a calculated move. Those clown and Pinocchio icons go beyond being dismissive. They're used to derail the discussion and energize his followers. Meanwhile, Ryder's meticulous breakdown of timelines, insider tips, and stated grievances makes it challenging to dismiss as outright fabrication. This wasn't just an off-the-cuff opinion. It was a well-documented report backed by evidence. Still, it wasn't Ryder who first revealed the tension between LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Observers had already started to notice signs of strain in their relationship. Just 2 years ago, Davis couldn't stop praising the bond he shared with LeBron. "People don't see what we do off the court, the moments we spend together," Davis had enthusiastically shared in an interview. describing their camaraderie as one of the strongest in the league. At that time, their friendship seemed all smiles, dancing around in locker rooms, hyping one another up. It's like they're the NBA's definition of best friends. But something feels off. Look at the Lakers versus Warriors matchup on January 26th. In the third quarter, the Lakers were actually holding their ground for a change. Instead of squandering their lead, they managed to pull off an 8-0 run, forcing the Warriors to call for a timeout. The bench erupted in celebration. Well, most of it. LeBron and AD, not quite. Cameras caught them locked in a tense exchange. LeBron was animated, gesturing passionately, while AD listened intently, as the rest of the team awkwardly averted their gaze. The interaction dragged on for about 30 seconds until Coach Redick stepped in, clipboard in hand, to defuse the situation. Disagreements among players are pretty common in basketball. It's part of the game. But this situation stood out for a reason. The Lakers were floundering, stuck in mediocrity, and their position in the standings wasn't doing them any favors. Each defeat seemed to heighten the frustration, not just for the fans, but likely for LeBron as well. The growing tension boiled over to the point where, even during a positive stretch like that impressive 8-0 run, friction arose between the team's two main stars. That was a serious warning sign. The sideline clash with AD, it was impossible to ignore. Yet, LeBron's dissatisfaction went deeper than that incident or even the challenges of this turbulent season. Behind the scenes, there was far more brewing, problems that had been festering long before cameras captured their heated exchange. These underlying tensions added complexity to the situation, creating a strain that even the most devoted Lakers supporters couldn't overlook. What was troubling LeBron so deeply? The truth, as it turns out, cuts much deeper than a single misstep on the court or a disappointing game. The real story lies in understanding what Anthony Davis truly needed. The surprising cause of the discord between LeBron James and Anthony Davis demands a closer look. Let's rewind to the period prior to the trade that dismantled one of the NBA's most legendary duos. Anthony Davis, the Lakers' $190 million franchise player, wasn't asking for much, just a bit of public support. I believe we need another big man. Personally, I've always performed at my peak when playing as a four with a strong presence alongside me in the paint. It could be argued that Anthony Davis was practically shouting into the abyss with this remark. This wasn't just a casual statement. It was a direct appeal for help after spending years as the Lakers' lone big man. For a brief moment, it seemed like the team's management finally got the message. NBA insider Anthony Irwin confirmed this, stating that the Lakers were fully committed to bringing in another center before the trade deadline. Fans exhaled. AD felt a sense of relief. After years of subtly pushing for this move, he might have even cracked a small smile. Ensuring Anthony Davis was content wasn't merely a wise decision. It was essential for survival. With LeBron's eventual retirement drawing nearer, AD was envisioned as the rightful successor, the cornerstone who would lead the Lakers into the post-LeBron era. He had even mentally prepared for this responsibility, sharing with Shams Charania during an interview that his mindset was all about dominating every game, stepping up in LeBron's absence, and figuring out how to secure victories even on off nights. In essence, AD was poised to rise to the challenge. He just required the right roster to back him up. This is where things take a complicated turn. That plea for help? It seems to have backfired spectacularly. Rather than finding a backup big man for AD, the Lakers supposedly used his frustration as the tipping point to dismantle everything. When news of the Davis for Dancic trade broke, reports suggest AD was completely blindsided. He immediately FaceTimed LeBron, seeking clarification. Sources say he reached out to Bron looking for some answers. Initially, though, LeBron dismissed the trade as some sort of joke. Reflecting on the situation, he admitted, "It's definitely been tough, especially for me. Having, 6 years with AD, winning a championship together, that, my guy, one of my closest friends, no doubt about it. So, well, you see, this is a business, and the reality is AD's public demand revealed a growing divide that had been simmering for quite some time. LeBron's inner circle had become quietly frustrated with AD's pattern of injuries and inconsistent performances. On the other hand, AD grew bitter about carrying the frontcourt responsibilities on his own, while LeBron's timeline allowed no room for setbacks. That demand from AD wasn't solely about assembling a better roster. It was a power move. AD wanted control of the franchise, but the Lakers instead handed the reins to Luka Doncic. LeBron's camp had spent months murmuring about AD's inability to stay healthy and his erratic displays, while the Lakers recognized that LeBron's tolerance for delays was fading. By swapping AD for Luka, a 25-year-old MVP contender, the Lakers not only gifted LeBron a partner to chase a final championship, but also ensured their long-term plans were intact. AD's push for a center position highlighted his frustrations, while his loyalty to the organization seemed overlooked. To claim LeBron was unaware of it seems extremely unlikely. LeBron's sway in Los Angeles is well documented. He orchestrated AD's acquisition back in 2019, insisted on trading for Westbrook in 2021, and even had a hand in hiring Darvin Ham. For a trade of this magnitude to go down without his implicit consent, inconceivable. Now, did LeBron actively want AD out? Probably not. But did he put his legacy above their collaboration? The signs point in that direction. By staying silent, he allowed the front office to absorb the criticism while he benefited, a younger, healthier superstar stepping in to bolster the twilight of his career. Anthony Davis, on the other hand, found himself grappling with feelings of betrayal. The Lakers, however, presented the decision as part of their strategic growth. General Manager Rob Pelinka expressed, "We are deeply grateful for AD's 6 incredible seasons with the Lakers, during which he led us to a championship and solidified his status as a consistent NBA All-Star." The organization acknowledged the trade as a difficult yet necessary move, while commending Davis for his significant impact on the team. Additionally, Pelinka emphasized that the Lucas trade was in line with the Lakers' long-term vision. Insiders revealed that a major concern for the team was Davis's recurring health issues. While undeniably dominant when on the court, Davis has struggled with injuries that led to extensive absences in recent years. He participated in only 36 games during the 2020-21 season and 40 the following year despite his talent. Even in 2024-25, when he missed only 5 of the first 47 games, doubts about his reliability lingered. Within the organization, concerns grew that Davis's durability could prevent him from being a dependable franchise cornerstone in the long run. Internally, there was a feeling that Davis couldn't be counted on as a dependable cornerstone for the future, largely due to concerns over his injury history. This perspective sheds light on why Pelinka remarked, "Luka is a rare, young international superstar who will guide this team for many years ahead." In the same vein, Ron expressed his enthusiasm about teaming up with Luka, saying, "Luka has been my favorite NBA player for quite some time. I've always aimed to play basketball the right way and motivate the next wave of players. Luka is part of that group, and now we're teammates, so the transition will be very smooth." Publicly, Davis and James had formed a powerful tandem that secured a championship title in 2020. However, by 2024, cracks in their partnership became apparent. Both stars have been openly pushing the management to bolster the team's roster. The public remarks did not sit well with the higher-ups in the Lakers organization. Reports suggest that both Anthony Davis and LeBron James were turning up the heat through the media, pushing for significant changes, which led to considerable irritation at the franchise's highest levels. The Lakers had made attempts to satisfy their stars by making slight adjustments to the roster, but when those minor changes failed to elevate the team into genuine championship contention, the frustration began to climb. Owner Jeannie Buss reportedly grew fatigued with what one account described as the exhausting task of balancing the lofty demands of superstars. From management's perspective, Davis's apparent dissatisfaction, highlighted by an open ESPN interview where he voiced grievances about the lack of support around him and expressed resistance to playing at center, was seen as a signal that his dedication to the Lakers' vision might be faltering. For those unaware, there were even rumors that Davis might contemplate requesting a trade, particularly if the team's struggles persisted, especially during the chaotic stretch before coach Darvin Ham was dismissed in May 2024. This looming scenario made the franchise more willing to consider trading him preemptively. Yet, assuming all of this is accurate, Davis's response to the trade hints at a different story. He was, after all, taken by surprise. How could he not be? This was the very player who, in 2020, ended a decade-long title drought for the Lakers, spearheading their defense and effortlessly putting up 27 points in playoff games, as if it were routine. A 5-time All-NBA selection, a constant contender for Defensive Player of the Year, and a guaranteed pick for the NBA's 75th anniversary team. This wasn't just any player being traded. This was the face of a franchise. AD's initial shock, however, didn't linger. Within mere hours, he reportedly shifted into what his teammates label as business mode. When questioned about the trade, he dismissed it with an unsettlingly pragmatic response. They went after who they wanted, made the moves they felt necessary. Maybe it wasn't required, but it's clearly what they intended. I moved on. The man who once referred to LeBron as a brother and spoke highly of their off-court connection simply stated, "It's done, and I'm focused on my new team and what we're building here." What stands out is not just AD's calm demeanor, but the sense of acceptance in his voice. This wasn't someone caught off guard. It was someone who'd long seen the inevitable coming. And let's address the obvious presence of LeBron in all this. AD's swift adjustment reveals something deeper, a clear understanding of how things work within the Lakers when LeBron is leading the charge. If they'd wanted him to stay in 2024, they'd have him made it happen. Instead, LeBron's silence following the trade and his cold, business-as-usual response came across as deliberate. As for AD, there was no outrage, no cryptic tweets, just a quiet recognition that, in LeBron's universe, loyalty always comes with an expiration date. AD recently hinted that the individuals he relied on had deceived him and kept crucial information from him. In a recent interview, he remarked, "Everyone keeps saying no one knew, and all this other stuff. I just don't buy it. But hey, it's all good. I'm over it. I'm focused on moving forward with Dallas, trying to win a championship with this group." Many view this trade as a massive win for a Lakers team intent on securing their next franchise star to follow in LeBron James' footsteps. A team that had seemingly grown convinced Davis wasn't the answer. Known for building their legacy on superstar talent, the Lakers have now secured one of the most prominent international names in the game. However, this deal wasn't purely about basketball. It boiled down to trust. Anthony Davis trusted the Lakers when they assured him they would construct a team centered around him. He trusted LeBron James when the conversation turned to cementing legacies. Yet, what he experienced instead was a harsh reality check about the unforgiving nature of the NBA. In this league, dedication only holds weight as long as your health and performance remain intact. As for LeBron, whether he was genuinely unaware of the trade or chose to feign ignorance, His response, or lack thereof, speaks volumes. In the NBA, alliances aren't born from genuine camaraderie, but from mutual advantage. When that benefit diminishes, so too does the affection. The notion of loyalty in this league, it's nothing more than a fictional ideal. We like to tell ourselves comforting narratives to soften the blow of harsh realities. The truth is, this league thrives on money, power plays, and a constant hunt for the next superstar. If you need proof, look no further than the Anthony Davis-Luka Doncic trade debacle. Two elite players, two entirely different responses, and one undeniable reminder of how the NBA really works. Let's begin with Anthony Davis. Not long ago, he made his way to Los Angeles, determined to join forces with LeBron James and chase championships. He delivered for the Lakers, a title in 2020, multiple All-NBA seasons, and enough jaw-dropping blocks to supply endless highlight reels. But now, Davis is staring at the brutal side of the business. Reports suggest he wanted to remain a Laker, believed in their long-term vision, and even worked behind the scenes to make things happen. Yet, when the Lakers caught wind of an opportunity to snag Luka Doncic, the younger and flashier star, Davis's contributions suddenly counted for nothing. Just like that, he was discarded, shipped off like yesterday's news. Next up is Luka, the former cornerstone of the Dallas Mavericks, the franchise's franchise player, their highlight machine, and the guy who carried a subpar roster all the way to the Western Conference Finals. He inked a massive contract extension, spoke about cementing a legacy in Dallas, and clearly had a genuine love for the city. So, when the bombshell news dropped that he'd been traded to LA, fans weren't just surprised, they were crushed. Dancic had no idea it was coming. He was completely blindsided. To make matters worse, the Mavericks front office didn't even give him a courtesy heads-up before pulling the trigger. Forget loyalty, this felt more like a betrayal. That likely explains Luka's fiery reaction during his latest game for the Lakers against his former team, the Dallas Mavericks. But this trade goes beyond just changing uniforms. It's a glaring reminder of one of the NBA's harsh truths. Players are judged by their most recent performance. Davis had been a core part of the Lakers' identity, but the moment a better opportunity appeared, he was considered disposable. Similarly, Dancic devoted the best years of his career to Dallas, but when a major market came calling with an irresistible deal, the Mavericks caved quicker than a cheap umbrella in a hurricane. Let's not kid ourselves into thinking this is a rare occurrence. It's the standard playbook. Look at DeMar DeRozan, a guy who bled Raptors red for 9 seasons, leading Toronto to the playoffs and embodying the spirit of the city more than Drake ever could. Yet, back in 2018, the Raptors blindsided him, swapping him for Kawhi Leonard without so much as giving him heads up. DeRozan later admitted he felt deeply betrayed, and who could blame him? Fast forward to now, DeRozan was recently dealt from the Chicago Bulls to the Sacramento Kings as part of a 3-team sign-in trade that also involved the San Antonio Spurs. The move sparked debate, as it saw the Bulls give up a star player for nothing more than a second-round pick. It's a stark reminder that while loyalty is nice in theory, championships are what keeps the lights on. And this isn't an isolated story. Teams love to preach about family and culture until a shinier opportunity comes their way. That's why so many NBA players had strong, unfiltered reactions to the shocking Davis-Doncic trade. Take Kevin Durant, for example. He perfectly captured the league-wide astonishment, labeling the trade as unbelievable and raising concerns about the NBA's apparent double standards when it comes to loyalty. Unbelievable, he remarked. It was wild, absolutely wild. Man, I never would have imagined someone like Luka Doncic being traded at this age. Durant also dropped a memorable line, saying, "The NBA is a crazy place, man. If a guy like that could be traded, then no one is off limits." Highlighting the business-focused dynamics of the league, he elaborated that players are often judged more harshly for their loyalty, while organizations frequently escape the same scrutiny. What Durant expressed hits the nail on the head. The surprising part is how fans and the media react in these situations. When a player requests a trade, fans are quick to label them as unfaithful. But when a team decides to trade a star player, the response is either silence or a shrug, with an explanation that it's simply business. Jalen Brunson didn't hold back when reacting to the trade, openly expressing his surprise. He found the entire situation baffling, noting he never imagined Luka would be traded without first requesting it. Meanwhile, Kyrie Irving acknowledged the harsh realities of how the NBA operates. He described the situation as an unusual chapter in the league's history, but admitted it's just part of how the business works, a business that can often be unforgiving. He emphasized the importance of staying ready to regroup and push for a title. Similarly, Giannis Antetokounmpo shared a comparable outlook, pointing out the cutthroat nature of their environment. He reminded everyone, "This is the reality we live in. It's a business, and no one is untouchable." Giannis underscored the harsh truths about the NBA, emphasizing that no player, regardless of their skill or status, is entirely safe. His statement serves as a bold acknowledgement that even the league's top-tier talents can be moved when business comes into play. Likewise, Devin Booker of the Suns expressed his disbelief in a moment that quickly went viral. Discovering the trade during game, he initially assumed it was Luka Garza being dealt. Reflecting afterward, he remarked, "Man, it's just wild. I really don't know what to say about it." Luka is one of those players everyone thought was completely untouchable in trades. Once again, the NBA proves it's impossible to foresee what might happen. This is a business, plain and simple. Discussions about you are always happening behind the scenes. Stephen Curry recently spoke about the unpredictable nature of the NBA. pointing out how sudden and unexpected changes can be. He commented on how there were no signs, no whispers, no leaks, nothing to suggest this would happen, especially after a team has just come off the finals. It serves as a stark reminder that only a select few players in the league can rest easy with any real sense of job security. Meanwhile, Cleveland Cavaliers veteran Tristan Thompson voiced a question that's still lingering in everyone's minds. He remarked that Luka being traded from Dallas couldn't simply be a random occurrence on a Saturday night. There has to be more to the story. What fans need to realize is that this cycle is what fuels the NBA. Controversy generates clicks, trades boost jersey revenue, and new superstar combos rake in cash. At the end of the day, the league isn't concerned about whether Davis wanted to end his career as a Laker or if Doncic dreamed of cementing his legacy as Dallas's all-time great. The focus is entirely on the upcoming narrative, the next powerhouse squad, and the subsequent surge in profits. Loyalty doesn't fill arenas, controversy does. And make no mistake, players are paying attention. Rising stars observing these dynamics are getting a first-hand education in looking out for themselves. When organizations can cut ties after years of dedication, why shouldn't players look out for their own well-being? LeBron has been showcasing this approach for years, opting for short-term contracts, keeping management on their toes, and ensuring he always has a way out. Now, it's become the norm. The outcome? A league where loyalty is a joke, and commitment only lasts until a better opportunity presents itself. The Davis-Doncic trade serves as a reflection of the NBA's core nature. It reveals a league that is just as exhilarating as it is unforgiving, where holding on to the past doesn't pay off and emotional attachments only leave you at a disadvantage. The Lakers and Mavericks have already shifted gears, acting as if nothing significant transpired. Meanwhile, fans are left in shock and heartbreak. What's the lesson here? Let go of the idea that loyalty has a place in the NBA. In this world, it's not a strength, it's a weakness. The moment you start believing in permanence, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Davis and Doncic are merely the latest examples of this harsh truth. In this league, you're either after the money, the championship, or the exit sign. And if you're not prepared to navigate the game, don't expect an easy fall when the ground disappears beneath your feet. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to explore more by clicking on one of the recommended links displayed on your screen.